Is fascism really a concern in the 2024 election? As we navigate the final stretch of the 2024 presidential election, the term fascist has been thrown around like never before. It's been used by both sides, liberals accusing the right.
It is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged. And he is seeking unchecked power. Consider what his closest advisors have said. His national security advisor, 2 defense secretaries, his former chief of staff, his own vice president, all have warned America Donald Trump is unfit to serve. Or listen to General Milley, Donald Trump's top general. He has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core.
And conservatives flinging it back at the left. But the real question is fascism a genuine concern in modern American politics, or is it just a buzzword for discrediting the opposition? To answer that, we need to take a deeper look at what defines fascism and how it relates to current political movements, particularly the MAGA movement, led by Donald Trump. Historically, fascism has several core characteristics: extreme nationalism, militarism, a focus on traditional values, suppression of individual rights, and an alliance with big businesses. Let's unpack how these elements apply to what we are seeing today. And we'll start with extreme nationalism and the MAGA movement.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first. Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. Protection will lead to great prosperity and strength. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
Nationalism isn't inherently bad. Most countries thrive on a healthy dose of national pride. But MAGA's brand of nationalism, America First, goes beyond the usual patriotism. It has an exclusionary tone where the emphasis is on preserving a certain type of American identity, often at the expense of marginalized groups. Immigrants, particularly from non-European countries, are framed as threats to that identity. It's not just about loving America. It's about defining who gets to belong and who doesn't. This echoes the kind of extreme nationalism that has been a hallmark of fascist movements in the past, where the nation's identity becomes not only a source of pride, but a weapon used to divide and exclude. Then there is Trump's recent rhetoric about using the military against his political enemies.
We have 2 enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia. The bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
That's a red flag. In fascist regimes, the military is often used to enforce political power and silence dissent. While Trump hasn't taken military action against opponents, the mere suggestion of it points to a troubling willingness to flirt with authoritarian measures. When the military becomes a political tool rather than a defender of national security, democracy is in danger. Another worrying sign is the willingness to prioritize national values over individual rights.
President Trump is going to make a determination what he thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. Well, I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade. And by doing that, it put pro-lifers in a very strong negotiating position. Nobody did a job like I did, including Roe v. Wade, bringing it back to the states. What I did by killing Roe v. Wade, which everyone said was impossible.
The Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade is a clear example. Whatever your stance on abortion, it's a case where the government stepped in to restrict personal freedoms in the name of moral and national interests. Fascist ideologies often elevate the nation, its moral values, and its cultural identity above the individual's autonomy. This is happening as certain groups like LGBTQ+ communities find their rights under attack. Now let's talk about conservative values and the culture wars. One of the most powerful tools of the MAGA movement is its appeal to traditional values. Trump's base is drawn to his defense of American values and his opposition to progressive changes such as LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice movements, and immigration reform. Fascist movements often rely on the promise of restoring a past, more pure version of the nation. The message is clear. America is under attack from modernity, and we need to return to a time when traditional values were upheld. But that's a dangerous path. A backward-looking exclusionary agenda is one of the ways authoritarian regimes gain power, by stoking fear of change. Lastly, there is the MAGA movement alignment with big business. Trump's economic policies, like his tax cuts and regulation efforts, have consistently favored corporations and the wealthy. This alignment with powerful business interests mirrors another key element of fascism, where governments work hand in hand with corporations to maintain control. While Trump frames himself as a populist, his economic policies paint a different picture, one that benefits the elite at the expense of everyday American. So, is fascism really a concern? It's easy to dismiss the word fascism as overblown or sensationalist. But when you look at the actual characteristics of fascism, extreme nationalism, militarism, the erosion of individual rights, a return to traditional values, and an alliance with big business, there are undeniable parallels in today's political climate. The MAGA movement taps into these elements in ways that should give us pause. However, America is not yet a fascist state. Our institutions, checks, and balances have so far prevented any one leader from fully seizing authoritarian control. But the rhetoric and the underlying currents are there, and they're dangerous. The question isn't whether we're living under fascism, but whether we're willing to recognize and reject the warning signs before it becomes a reality. As a culture, we need to remain vigilant. The allure of a strong man leader promising to fix everything can be seductive, especially in times of uncertainty. But history has shown us where that road leads, and it's a place where democracy dies, where the individual is crushed under the weight of a nation that no longer values diversity, dissent, or freedom. In 2024, we need to ask ourselves, are we moving toward a future of inclusivity and democracy, or are we turning back toward a path where the power and control belong to the few? The stakes couldn't be higher.